Great. So today we are going to have a session on this, how to read a research and a review paper. And in the end, we'll try to understand how to do literature survey in general. So this session has been designed such a way that after having this session, you are able to read any research paper or a review paper easily. Uh, and for that, we also have a practice session. Uh, so if you people have joined from mobile, I'll request you to join through your laptops and also have a pen and paper, because after half an hour and so, we will be having a practice session where I will give you a paper, and you guys have to read it for 7 minutes by the process I have told you, and then we will have discussion 4 minutes and so on. So I will tell you how we will proceed. All right. So let's start our presentation. Uh, so first of all, we need to understand that what is a research and what is a review paper. So what are the basic differences? So a research paper is generally based on the analysis and interpretation of the original data. And this is the original work from a research study or a lab. So this is considered as original work. Somebody did it actually. And generally, we have innovative and novel ideas that we present in our research papers, where we have experimentations and methods. Mm, that is the whole soul of the paper. On the other hand, the review paper are based on other published articles. So the research paper, the same research paper we have read, for example, has maybe a part of a review paper. So it is based on a published article, and it doesn't generally report an original research. That is very obvious, and it contains simple and compact summary of original research papers. So there have been like 100 research papers or 120 research papers, and you have a summary of all those research paper in one review paper. See? So it acts as an overview of the topic. For example, you have printed electronics as a topic, computer vision as a topic, machine learning as a topic. So it acts as an overview of the whole topic, where hundreds and 200s of papers of an area have been reviewed and then written. Now, uh, should I? Yes. So there have been some research related terms. Uh, these terms I don't want to go into details, but you need to have an understanding, and these terms we will later discuss through our WhatsApp group. So the most important thing for today is journals. The research papers are usually published in a journal, and for today I have a white paper for you to read. You need to understand that there is a one thing called peer review. So peer review means that it is a standard thing. For now, you understand this. Later on, I'll explain what peer review means and what other things are. There have been hierarchy into these things, like journals, transactions, letters, conferences have a hierarchy. So in later section, we will discuss what is the hierarchy and how it works. Now, coming to our part of a research paper. So what are generally a part of a research paper? So the first thing we see is what is the journal and what is the publishing house we are reading the paper of. For example, IEEE is a publishing house, and there have been so many journals for IEEE. Similarly, there's publishing house ACM, Elsevier, Springer. These are all publishing houses, and all these have a lot of journals within them. So within a research paper, we have a title, we have an abstract. Nowadays, we have abstracts with figures. Earlier, we have abstract without figures. Then in the research paper, we have keywords. We also have an author with their affiliations. There is a date of publish. After that, we have introduction. I'm going in the order the research paper is written, and then there's a body. In body, in general, we have 2 3 sections. One is materials and methods, and where we talk about what are the materials used, what are the methods used, and then the experimentation, how the experimentation is performed. Then comes a result and discussion, then comes conclusion, then there are references. Then each thing that you have introduced and that is not original in nature and has been copied or taken from somewhere has to be referenced. All right. And then we nowadays we have cross referencing. For example, you have a reference and there's a hyperlink to that reference. For example, you have a research paper and you can click on that reference, so you can go to the original research paper. That is called cross reference. I'll show you all these things in a bit. So let's stop here, and I'll go back and show you a review and a research paper. So hold on. So if you can see that this is a review paper, and I will show you few things. Let me enlarge. So if you can see that this is a date, it says 2017, March 2017. It says about the date. Then it says IEEE. It is very small, written in very small. I cannot enlarge it. Sorry. Let me see. I can do that. Yeah. So this is the journal. The name of the journal is Emerging and Selected Topics in Circuits and Systems. So this is the name of the journal, and this is the title of the research paper. Now you can see that these are the people who have written. These are the authors. So one author, second author, and the third author. Sometimes we write affiliation of these writers. For example, this Joshua, the author, has been the senior member of IEEE. That is his affiliation. All right. So we have talked about the title. We have talked about the general. We have talked about the date. We have talked about the authors and their affiliations. Uh, Now let's go down and see what other things we have. So we have this abstract. So generally abstract is something that is a very short summary of the whole research or review paper in 250 words or sometimes 400 words or sometimes 150 words. The whole paper has been written, and in that the problem statement and the solution and what has been done is written, so that anybody can go and check it out what the paper is all about. After writing the abstract, people generally write introduction. So before introduction, nowadays it is being done that keywords are being introduced. They are sometimes also called index terms. So for example, printed electronics, organic electronics, these are the keywords. So for example, if you Google these terms, you will easily reach the research paper. That is this paper. Then comes your introduction. So this is your introduction, talking about how the area has been started and how the before establishing the problem statement, they tell you about the context of what the paper is all about. So this is introduction, and generally nowadays people also write uh, journals and publishing houses also write when it has been published, when it has been accepted, how much time it has been taken to review it. All those details are there nowadays on the front page of the paper. That said, this is a review paper. I won't go into details. So it is a very long review paper you can see from here. All right. The second thing I want to show is a research paper. Research paper is similar thing, as I've told you, but there are few things that are different. For example, it also has abstract, it also has keywords, it also has a heading, it also has a date, author, affiliation, everything. But it also has a part called body, that is materials and method, how this has been designed, right? So this is something I want to show you guys. All right. I hope you guys are following me up till now. Am I not fast enough? My speed is okay. Okay, cool. So let's get back to the presentation. Uh, Now come to the original part. The topic for today's session was reading a research paper. So once you know what a research paper is and what are its parts and what are its different things that you need to know, the basics. So let's talk about how to read a research paper. So the first thing we see is we don't read a whole research paper one at a time. That is a very bad approach, and lots of people do this. When we read a textbook or material in our academic courses, we tend to read everything, every line, every word. But when we do research, we don't do this. We read something, we skim some part. By skimming, I mean you go through 4 or 5 pages and see something is important or not. Then you at times skip areas. For example, you skip some of the areas, methods, materials, so on. Sometimes you read a particular part and you find some words, so you search those words. Sometimes you see a particular thing is being repeated again and again and you do not have any idea about it, so you research about it, and at times you highlight the most important thing in a research paper. So how we do all these things, let's come to that. Now, this is the most important part of our discussion, to read a research paper. So we read a research paper into multiple passes. So we have, for example, we have taken a research paper, the one paper I have shown you just now, and we will read its title first of all. Then we will read its abstract and then the figures. So in the first pass of the read, you will understand what the paper is all about by the title, by abstract, by figures. And this activity I will do with you guys. Let's just hold on and let's go back to the research paper we just. So this is the research paper. I'll enlarge it. So this is the title of the paper. So what this says is, this is an inkjet printed flexible temperature sensor based on silver nanoparticle ink. So it talks about temperature sensor. The research paper is on temperature sensor. That is very obvious. If you're from electrical engineering, electronics engineering, or computer engineering, you know what a temperature sensor is. Now it says temperature sensor has a feature that is it is flexible. That is very interesting. And most importantly, it is inkjet printed. That it means it is not an IC. It is a printed something that is printed from an inkjet printer. Now it has been, since it is a printed thing, so it is based on some ink, and that ink is silver in nature, and its feature is that it has nanoparticles. So it is a silver nanoparticle ink. So on an inkjet printer, we have designed a temperature sensor that is flexible in nature, which has been designed through an inkjet printer through a silver nanoparticle ink. Now from the title, we understood a lot of things. Now based on this, we decide, should we go to read abstract? We say yes, we should read abstract. So at times we go to the abstract. Now the abstract is very small. All right. I'll just read it out for you for the sake of understanding. One important thing is there, with the abstract, we also read the keywords to understand that do we have interest in this research paper or not. For example, we see that it is written inkjet printed, flexible substrate, temperature sensor, silver nanoparticles, and printed electronics. For example, I have interest in printed electronics. So now there's an aha moment, and I will say, yes, I will read the paper because it says printed electronics. Then I'll go and I'll read the abstract. And in this, for example, it says, in this research, a flexible inkjet printed temperature sensor with in-house silver nanoparticle is presented and compared with the sensor printed with commercial silver nanoparticle ink. That's just the thing that we understood from the title itself. This sensor has an average width so and so, and उसके बाद they say कि it has a serpentine structure sensor. It is based on PET. This is the base on which it is designed. Then they talk about which printer they have used. They also talk about the range of temperature and what is the characteristic linear relationship between resistance and temperature for both types, and so on. So from the abstract, we know what the paper is going to talk about. Now what we do is, we just go through, we'll skip the introduction, we'll skip the body, we will just see the figures. For example, it shows a serpentine nature figure, and then we will see more figures. So this shows a printer, and we will see that there have been two types of printers they have designed using two different inks. For example, this microscopic image and this microscopic image. And now we hold on to there, we see that these are the graphical characteristics that show that the resistance versus temperature is a linear graph. That's it. And from this, we nearly understood the whole paper. Now you can see that some of the things you are very familiar with. This is something you have studied in your 12th standard. There's a mathematical formula that you must have about resistance that you have studied in your 12th standard. And that's it. We skip all the things. So what we did is, we read the title, we read abstract, we read the keyword, and we have gone through the images, the figures, and we skip all the other parts in our first pass. Does that make sense up till here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now let's go back to second. So this is our first pass of reading a research paper. We read title, abstract, and figures, and skip it or the other part. Now what we do is we will going to read the introduction, then the conclusion, and the figures again, and skim the rest. So this time what we do, we now understand the context from where it has been started, and we understand what the paper concludes, and that's it. And we skip the related, the body part, the main, the most important part, we skip that. Okay, so I won't be reading the introduction. I'll go to the conclusion part and show you what they say. Let's go back to the conclusion. Conclusion is simple. It just says that flexible temperature sensors were developed with an inkjet printer using two types of inks. So this is one type of ink. The other type is in-house silver nanoparticle ink. The performance of the printed sensors were evaluated by varying temperature from 30 degrees to 100 degrees Celsius. So they checked the sensor that if we change the temperature from 30 to 100 degrees Celsius, what will be the varying temperature? The results show that the printed sensor have a linear relationship between the resistance and temperature for both inks. So as we see in the graphs that for both the inks, the resistance versus temperature graph was a linear graph. The printed sensor developed using the ink house gave the higher sensitivity, which was this compared to commercial ink. Now it is telling that one ink is better than the other in terms of sensitivity. Therefore, the ink house is comparable to the commercial ink and has greater potential industrial applicability. And this is the most important thing. That shows that it can be used in an industry. So the second pass tell us that we know more about the research paper in just few minutes. Okay. The third thing is we read the whole paper but skip and skim the math. In this paper, the math is very easy. The formulas are very easy. We knew it. But at sometimes we have calculus, we have coordinate geometry, we have complex mathematics, and we try. So in those, for example, in computer, machine learning, computer vision, and papers that has much more mathematics, we generally read the paper and skip or skim the math. Then last thing we do is we read the whole paper but skip part that does not make sense. We read some paragraph and some lines and we did not understand. So what happens when we are reading our general academic things, we tend to understand every bit and pieces. But here we see if it doesn't make if not making sense, just skip it. And then finally we determine what's the most important thing we understood from all. So this is an easy thing to read a research paper. All right. Now, once you have an understanding of the research paper, you go further to ask questions. Now you sit down with the research paper and ask yourself the following questions. What did the author try to accomplish? The thing. So in our case, the author was trying to accomplish design a temperature sensor using certain type of inks. That is it. What are the key elements of the approach? So the key element of the approach was that she tried two different types of ink and compared its sensitivity. That's easy. Now we ask the next question: what can you use yourself? And now you see that, oh, might be I can design this temperature sensor and I might use the same printer or same ink myself to design and check out how it works and how better the sensitivity could be. So this is your part of it, for example. Then the next question we ask is what other references you want to follow. So, and yes, the final question is should I read the review paper now? So I'll answer both the questions by showing you the most important thing here. When you read a research paper, at the end of research paper, there is a called references. This is called reference. I haven't shown you. So these says that on number one, this research paper has been cited. Cited means that I'll show you the thing. When you go to the introduction, you will read this line. Among the IoT technologies, the temperature sensor is one of the most widely employed in many fields, such as wearable sensors and logistic monitoring systems. Now you can see that there is 1 and 2. This is called citation. That you say that this statement is not mine, that is not originally mine. This has been stated in research paper number 1 and 2, and those research paper has been referenced in the end. So they have been referenced like 3, like 5, like 4. So these are called references. So these statements are not the original statement. These are taken from some research paper, and that is why we reference it here. So these are the references. And so if you see that in the starting of references, you have the name of the authors who has written the research paper, then the title of the research paper up till here. A disposable inkjet printed humidity and temperature sensor fabricated on paper. This is the title of the paper, and this tell where it has been published and when it has been published. Does that make sense? How it has been referenced. Sometimes they also write DOI, from which you can easily find out where this paper is if it is anywhere on the net. So what we do is, the fourth thing we do is, after reading the research paper, we go to some important references and see, okay, for example, reference number 5 is very important for us. So let's search this research paper, and then we will read this paper to understand the first paper, and so on. So we continue doing the referencing and reading papers from the reference itself, because those reference papers are very important for us. Similarly, this paper does not have cross reference, but at times it has that this DOI is hyperlinked. For example, if this DOI is hyperlinked, and if I'm going to click on this, you are going to go to the original paper, and it links to the original paper. So this is called cross reference. So these are the questions we ask. First, we read a research paper by multiple passes. Then we ask questions, and then we ask the most important question. And this question is, what is the research question? Every research paper has a research question that is answering something. That is called the problem statement. It is having a problem that it is solving. So that is a research question. So generally, research statement refers to a critical issue that a research seeks to address, and it captures the existing knowledge gap that the study aims to bridge using reliable results and outcomes. So that is the most important thing we ask finally. And then we see what is the proposed solution. And then we go to the nitty gritties, for example, technical stuff that is written about temperature sensors, the fundamental equations and theories about it, and then the mathematics. So this is how we approach it. Well, but the problem is, we cannot comprehend all of this in one go. So a good idea of reading a research paper is to write down the notes. And that is one of the greatest rule is one-page rule of writing notes. So you take a A4 size paper, plain A4 size paper, and on one side you write the title of the paper, you write a date of publish, and then you divide it into sections in a way that is comprehensible and understandable to you, and read it and write down the important things that you understood. So what are the things that you have to write? You have to write about the keywords, the key ideas you understood. At a time of reading research paper, you might have highlighted the papers. For example, if you have seen my research papers at review paper, I have highlighted it at different points. So that are the highlights. So you copy down those highlights, and then ask the following question: what is important? Just the question, the problem statement we talked about. So you write down the problem statement that the paper is talking. Why it is important? Why the author why the author accomplished this? You have to ask, and then you have to ask. The most important thing is big picture idea. How in the real world this piece of research is going to help, or this piece of research is going to help in general the academy or the industry. That is a big picture idea. You have to write down the big picture idea. And finally, uh, you will ask yourself how they achieve this. For example, if you have to repeat the same thing, or if you have to follow the research by reading that research paper, so you ask how they achieve. And this is where the methods, material, the body part comes in, and here your actual research begins. uh, Now I'll go to the last part, the funnel theory. And this theory explains that what is the whole idea of understanding any concept? This is in general, not about research. In general, the funnel theory is about anything. So what we do is we have to present anything, if we have to write anything, if we have to read anything, if we have to listen anything, what we do, we follow the funnel theory. So what it says is we start from the big picture idea. What is the theme? What is the application of the thing we are reading or presenting or researching? Then we write down the research statement that it what it says. Then we go down, deep down, till the nitty-gritties of subject, where methods, material, all these things come. And then we rewrite the specifics that are important. The place where I told you to write down the notes. Then this is the part we reach the center of our funnel. So we started from the big picture idea. We go down the nitty-gritties and we finally reach the specific. When once we reach a specific point, we look deeply for most important methods now. The methods that has made the specific thing really important. And then we restart and rethink about the broader idea of the paper, what the paper talks about majorly. And finally, we end our whole thing by internalizing the research problem with the solution, what the solution is getting. And by following this funnel theory, you can do anything. You can read a research paper, you can write a research paper, you can present anything, and so on. And this also helps in not only in research but in other academic things. So that's it. It's 11:30 already. All right, I have 2 3 slides left. Now this was about one research paper. So let's see if we have to go into a whole area. So when we have to go into a whole area and survey literature, so when we read multiple and many research papers, we call it literature survey. That means that we are reading multiple review and research papers. So what we do is we compile a list of papers on an article or a topic, and this can be from a Medium article, this can be research papers, this can be blogs, websites, GitHub, LinkedIn posts, and so on. Uh, and then we take the list of, for example, 5 papers, and then we start reading one paper. The way I told you how to read one paper by multiple passes. And for example, we have read about 10%, and after reading 10% of the paper, we saw that this paper is a garbage paper. We threw the paper away. Then we start another paper, and it makes sense. But by reaching the 50% of the paper, and by when till the time you reach the methods and material, you find that this paper is also nonsense and it doesn't make sense to you and not relevant to you. So you delete that paper again. Then you read another paper, and this paper was a great paper. That was the thing that you're looking for. You read the whole paper, you understand that paper well by the same method I told you, by multiple passes. Okay. Then you might read a fourth paper, and it may doesn't like you may not like that. Then you read the fifth paper, but the starting introduction was enough for you, and you say, okay, that is it. This paper was good, but 10% was fine for me for now, and you leave it for the next time, and so on. You follow the process. Now it is said that if you read 5 to 20 papers, you have a basic understanding of a research area. And reading 5 to 20 research papers is not very difficult. It can be done in a month or so, or sometimes 2 weeks. You can do that in 2 weeks also. For writing a review paper or to have a greater understanding, good understanding of a research area, sometimes to have an expertise in an area, you must have to go through 50 to 100 papers. And it is a long time game, like 3 months, 4 months time. Sometimes it may take 6 months. But generally, in 3 months, you can easily go through 50 to 100 research papers, and you can have a very good understanding of the research area. This is called literature survey. Okay, so it's practice line now. We are going to choose a paper. I have chosen a paper for you guys. Since you guys are from electrical electronics computer engineering, so I have taken a paper that has some hardware part, some machine learning part, some electronics FPGA part, and so this is a mixed paper, and this is a difficult paper. So you have to follow the thing that I just told you, and you just answer the starting 2 3 questions. Okay, then we will have a 4 minutes for writing most important points, and then we will discuss what you understood. So you will open your mics and tell us what understood. Then we will finally conclude by the common mistakes one should avoid. All right. my final slide is about giveaways, where I am going to talk about what Google Scholar is and what Sci-Hub is. So this is, I will talk in the very end. So technically our presentation is over, and this last slide I'll share you on the WhatsApp group. So don't worry. So I'm going to share you guys a research paper uh, that you have to read, and we will set a timer for you. Just wait a second.
Can you also,
Before that, do you have doubts? Please have your doubts with me. Yeah.
I mean, can you please like reshare the slide where you exactly noted down the questions we should ask ourselves about the paper, like as a reference?
Yes, yes. So you can take screenshot for now, and I will share it later with you guys. So
Yeah.
these are the questions you need to ask. So take this screenshot.
I have taken the screenshots. I can share in the group.
Thanks, please.
Please don't share all the slides. Uh, Everybody will be confused. So
Okay.
take this screenshot, and also take the screenshot of uh, this one. Yes, this one. What is the research question? So I have shared with you guys the research paper. Please open it up. It's 11:35, and for 7 minutes you have to read this paper. You to stop reading, and you can open your laptops and go through the process. Is that okay with you guys?
Have you shared the paper?
Because yes, I have shared the paper on the research community GMA group.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be waiting for you guys. After 7 minutes, we will talk again.